What's up, you guys? It's KeAmber Vaughn, aka CoachKe, coming back to you with another video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you're not new, welcome back. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and also tap the bell so that you are notified of every new video that I post. So as you guys can tell by the title of this video is going to be totally different from pretty much all of the content that I have here on my channel. But I wanted to take you guys to work with me tonight. So for those of you all who are new, or maybe you just don't know, I am a psych nurse and I work at nighttime. Now, I work in two different areas of psych. Back home in St. Louis, because right now I am on a travel contract in California. Back home in St. Louis, I mainly work in forensic psych, meaning that most of my clients, not all, but most of them are basically criminals who have been found not guilty by reason of insanity or permanently incompetent to stand trial. And the majority of them have some kind of like somatic disorders, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, stuff like that. Again, not all of them are criminals, but most of them are. And then here in California, I mainly deal with like more acute psych patients who like, oh, I lost my job, I'm depressed, or life is becoming overwhelming, I'm depressed. I do deal with some people who like have had different mood disorders or depression or anxiety for long periods of time, but the biggest difference is that they are not criminals. We also deal with like detox patients, so people who are detoxing from drugs and alcohol will come onto our unit as well. And we do still typically get some patients who are like going through psychosis, like people who have the bipolar or the schizophrenia, stopped taking their medicine, became psychotic, and they're, you know, now in our units. So one day I probably will make a video like the pros and cons of both, and also kind of like go a little bit more into detail on the differences between the two. But the biggest thing is I just wanted to show you guys what a typical shift looks like for me. So yeah, it's basically time for me to head on out the door. So come on right along.
My night always starts off with me going to pick up coffee from Starbucks. And I didn't used to need coffee to get myself through the night, but as I'm getting older, you guys, it's so difficult for me to stay awake without caffeine. I also picked up dinner tonight, which also is not typical, but I didn't have time between getting back in town, working the next 3 nights, and going right back out of town the afternoon I got off work. So typically I like to arrive to work around 6:50 so I can clock in at 6:55, but I was running a little behind. After we clock in, we always get report from the morning nurses all in one room, and then some of the nurses get vitals, and then the other nurses pull meds, and we kind of switch out until everybody has pulled meds, and then we're all giving medications around 8 o'clock or so. Now this particular night it was only 2 of us nurses, so I pretty much did vitals for everyone, and then I went ahead and wrote down all of my patients' medications. Of course, typically their names would be above their column for the meds, and I just write down everything for everyone. Where you see a C, that just means that I have to cut one of those pills basically. So after I write down all of the patient's meds per patient, then I print a psych assessment sheet. When I was going through orientation, I was orienting with one of the veteran nurses, and I noticed he was asking the same questions over and over. So I decided to make that into a Microsoft Word sheet so that I could, you know, really be consistent with what I'm asking each patient. And so I go ahead and I print that out, and then I go ahead and I claim a while and I wipe it down. Okay, and I wiped it way better than what you see on camera, but I only got one hand right now. So after I wipe the while down, I then began to pull the meds for each of the patients. I have that list that I had written out that you guys saw, and I just scratched the meds as I pulled them. And then as you guys can see, I put each patient's medication into their designated bin. I wipe those down too, and I throw a glove in each one. When I'm going around and I'm passing meds, right after I finish passing meds, that's when I do that whole assessment that you guys saw me print out. And then after that, it's time to chart. Okay, charting is a very, 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 very long process, and honestly, it's one of the reasons why I hate working in a hospital. Besides having to get admissions, it's such a huge difference between that and like forensics. When I'm working back home, we don't chart unless like something happens, like some kind of incident or something. So one of the other things that we typically don't have to do as nurses, unless one of the nursing assistants that is on the floor, typically we only have one. If they're on like a lunch break or something, then we'll take over this for them. But this particular night, again, it was just us two nurses. We didn't have a nurse assistant. You guys see me writing in a little binder over to the side, and that is because I had to do the rounds, and I decided to be nice and pretty much do the rounds all night. Okay, and you guys see me get up because I'm also sitting out in the hallway, so every time a patient comes out, I am the person that's helping them, and y'all can see I'm over it, and you're about to see why I'm over it in just a second. Okay, so after I am done charting on one patient, you guys see me take out a red pen. I like to write down the time that I'm finished charting everything for that particular patient, because typically I'm done usually with all of my patients by like 11 o'clock or so, and then there's a 1 a.m. assessment I have to chart on all of my clients as well. And yeah, this is why I was over it earlier, because I done did everything and it's still 11:39. I ain't even halfway done with my shift. Okay, oh y'all, this is so important. Hydration. So many nurses get UTIs, they're dehydrated because we try to put our patients first, but let me tell you, you are no good to anybody if you're no good to yourself. Now, listen, this is the worst part of the night. This right here. This right here. This intercom system is so loud and it's so frustrating. Now, this right here is because babies are being born, which, no offense, moms, but people who are in a hospital, especially on a psych unit, they don't care. They just want to sleep. So it's 2 a.m. right now, and I'm clocking out for me to eat lunch. And you guys can see that's the shrimp burrito that I had ordered earlier. And oh my gosh, it was so good. So typically on my 30-minute lunch, not only do I eat, but most of the time I take a little time to talk to someone special, you know, on the phone or FaceTiming or whatever. And yeah, I know y'all like it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Okay, you need to be up when I'm up. Okay. So after I'm done eating, I usually like to lay down on my back for like 10 minutes or so to decompress my spine. I have really bad spine issues. Maybe one day I'll make a video about it. And yeah, I did a whole bunch more charting. By then, I finally made it to 5 o'clock, and I'm doing what we call chart checks. And for each and every patient that you personally have, you have to go through, make sure the audits are done, whether they're voluntary or they're on some kind of hold. And then we go through and make sure certain things are done. And that's pretty much it. Now, stay tuned because I didn't close this video out right. Hey y'all, so it's been about a week since I actually recorded the video of me taking you guys to work with me. It is Thursday, January 24th. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I've been chewing this same piece of gum since 9 o'clock last night, okay? It's just been that kind of night, and I'm going to tell y'all all about that in just a second. But the reason why I couldn't finish off the night with you guys or the morning with you guys last week is because after I got off work, I literally had an hour to get home, shower, wash my hair, blow dry, and style it before I needed to be at the airport. Okay, yeah, I was a little crazy, so I was not really able to drive and pay attention, you know, to y'all on the camera and everything else. But needless to say, the only thing you guys really missed is that after the chart checks, typically I'm done with my chart checks at about 5:30 or so, and then at around 6 o'clock in the morning, I basically take some of my assessments throughout the night and I copy and paste them into what is called the shift report. So basically, what you guys saw, that one piece of paper that had all those questions on it, in one of my assessments, which is usually the one at 9 o'clock at night, I type all of that in, like into a box. I type it all out, and then at 1 o'clock in the morning I kind of copy and paste the same thing into it's called the Care Plan Behavioral Health Assessment. And then when I do the shift report, I basically just type in like what PRNs I gave that night, if anything happened from 9 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I copy and paste my 9 p.m. psych assessment
into that box, because when I give my report, that's literally the way that I give my report to the nurses anyway. So that's the reason why I do it. Everything is very systematic for me because it helps me to keep things like very like time constraints and like really good time management, so that when I have admissions and stuff, then I'm not like really behind. Speaking of admissions, let me tell y'all about last night, okay? Because this is very interesting. First of all, last night I was ready to walk out of work as soon as it started, okay? Because I was there the previous night. I had 6 patients the previous night, as well as another traveler had 6 patients that night as well. Walk in and I'm with 2 other nurses. They each have 6 patients and I have 3. Okay, our ratio is 1-6. So that basically means that I have the opportunity to possibly get 3 admissions in the night while the other 2 get 0. Now, the reason why this was set up this way is because one of the nurses is a licensed vocational nurse, if I'm not mistaken, so they can't do admissions. The other girl was a float pool, so she couldn't do admissions either. So that like really irritated me, because I'm like, how can you put me in a position to possibly get 2 or 3 admissions in the night? Like, what's up with that? So I already started off the shift like kind of pissed off about that, to be honest with you, but I kept my composure. And so I knew I was going to get 1 admission, right? But then it was kind of questionable whether that person was coming or not. Well, needless to say, the person was a transfer from another unit, and the way that they transferred the patient over, it made it to where we couldn't put the psych care plan into their chart electronically. So you know what that meant? I literally had to chart everything by hand. It wasn't until, so the patient got there at like 9:40 at night. It wasn't until like 6:30 this morning that the charge nurse was like, oh, let me try to put everything in individually. I'm like, try that. Guess what? It worked. Why wouldn't you think of that? I'm usually so smart, okay? But it was like everything else I was trying wasn't working, because I did try to put a couple of other like individual interventions in and it didn't work. So maybe it only worked after the guy who like fixes systems, the IT guy, maybe it only worked after he had been working on it all night. I don't know. But the other problem was our system was down from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. anyway. So I'm going to insert a picture right here to show you how many pieces of paper I had to do. Let me tell y'all, that paper charting is 114 pages. Okay, I counted. I had 24 stickers on each page, and it took me 4 pages of stickers plus another 16 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, when I tell y'all I was over it, or I think it was plus another 18, when I tell y'all I was over it, I did not get done with this person's admission till 3:45 in the morning. I was doing this admission for 6 hours straight. I did not take a break. Okay, so when I tell y'all, that's why I've been chewing this same piece of gum. Okay, I ain't even had the energy or the like. My nerves been so bad. I just want this same piece of gum. Like, I mean, I'm gonna throw it out when I get home. But listen, it was just that kind of night. Luckily, the charge nurse was nice enough to just be like, you know what? I mean, by the time the system came back up at 4:30 in the morning, usually you won't get an admission at that point anyway. They have to wait till the next shift. But it was just like, yo, 6 hours straight, bruh. But anyway, so it was that kind of night. I've never had a night like that, like ever, while I've been there. And I hope that this is the last one. I'm halfway through this doggone assignment. Let me tell you, I can't take no more of those kind of nights. And it's one of those things where like when you deal with stuff like that, you think to yourself like, oh man, I'm gonna be so tired after this shift because I'm literally drained. And instead it's the complete opposite. I've been doing so much that I just have all the energy in the world. Like, y'all, I didn't even go on my lunch break until 4:10 in the morning. Mind you, I get there at what, 7 o'clock at night. I didn't take my lunch break until 4:10 in the morning. Yeah, but anyway, so I'm glad that you guys went along with me last week. Child, if y'all was with me last night, oh God. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad that you guys came along with me, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions regarding nursing, regarding psych nursing, I have also been a neuro nurse before in the past. I've done some floating onto ortho as well as med surg. If you guys have any questions related to that, feel free to leave it down in the description box. If you guys have any suggestions or requests for any nursing type videos or even finance videos as well, feel free to leave that down in the comment section as well, because I told y'all I got a list of videos coming for y'all. I'll just add it right to it. But hope y'all enjoyed this. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.